The ship descended slowly through the misty atmosphere of the alien planet. The skies above glowed with a soft, iridescent light, shifting colors like liquid glass. Eli Parker pressed his hand against the cool window of the observation deck, watching the landscape unfold beneath him. Towering trees with translucent leaves swayed gently in a wind that smelled faintly metallic, yet strangely sweet. The ground sparkled in places, reflecting the strange light from above, giving the impression that the planet itself was alive with some quiet energy. Eli was part of a small human delegation, sent to explore and establish peaceful contact with the native species of this distant world. Humanity had sent expeditions to many planets, but none as strange or as potentially dangerous as this one. Still, Eli was calm. He had spent years in situations where his survival depended on his quick thinking and resourcefulness, and he trusted his abilities. As the ship landed, the soft hum of the engine ceased, leaving only the natural sounds of the alien world. Strange calls echoed from the distant trees, high-pitched and rhythmic, like a song being played by invisible musicians. Eli stepped out onto the landing platform, his boots sinking slightly into the soft, luminescent soil. He took a deep breath, letting the strange air fill his lungs. It was breathable for humans, though slightly heavier than Earth's atmosphere. "Looks peaceful enough," said Dr. Mara Venn, the lead scientist of the mission. Her voice carried a mixture of excitement and caution. "But remember, we know almost nothing about the local species. Observe first, interact second." It pulsed faintly as if it had a heartbeat of its own. "Let's move," Eli said. His voice was steady, betraying none of the nervous energy he felt. He led the small team forward, his eyes scanning the area. Every step required attention. The ground was uneven, and alien plants curled and twisted in unexpected ways. As they approached the outpost, Eli noticed small drones hovering around the entrance. They were smooth, almost organic in shape, and their glowing blue sensors scanned the area constantly. The drones seemed harmless at first, but Eli had learned to be cautious. He knelt down, examining the ground and the plants around the entrance. His fingers traced small, intricate patterns etched into the soil, traces of alien presence, evidence that the area had been carefully monitored. "Interesting," Mara murmured. "These drones, they respond to movement. We might trigger them if we're not careful." It reacted instantly, moving toward him with a soft hum. Eli didn't panic. Instead, he observed its movements, noting the rhythm and timing. Then, with a small hop and a quick sidestep, he disrupted the drone's balance, causing it to hover in confusion. A second later, he used a nearby vine to gently entangle the drone's sensors, temporarily immobilizing it without causing damage. The team watched silently, impressed. Eli moved from drone to drone, using nothing but his hands and the environment to neutralize the small machines. He twisted, ducked, and leapt with fluid motion, showing a combination of agility and intelligence. Each move was deliberate, calculated, and entirely non-lethal. From somewhere above, hidden in the trees and glowing flora, eyes watched him. Eli didn't know it yet, but the alien species had observed every move. The drones were only the first layer of a complex surveillance network, and the creature leading the observation, a massive queen, regal and intelligent, was intrigued. She had seen many species, but none approached problems the way humans did. The last drone twitched, its sensors spinning erratically. Eli reached out, gently pressing a control panel hidden on its side, and it fell still. He straightened, breathing steadily, and turned to his team. "Safe," he said. "No one harmed. Let's proceed." The air was cool and dry, carrying a faint hum that resonated through the walls. Eli's senses were alert. He had learned that quiet environments could hide the greatest dangers. The outpost was empty, or at least appeared to be. Strange devices lined the walls, machines with rotating components and crystal interfaces that pulsed faintly when touched. Eli approached one, examining it carefully. He noticed patterns etched into the metal, symbols that seemed to communicate something without words. He traced a finger along the design, and a soft light responded, following the motion of his hand. "It's some kind of interface," Mara whispered, amazed. "But I can't tell what it does." Instead of pressing buttons or attempting to operate it conventionally, he observed, experimented, and adapted. Using a combination of gentle pressure and timing, he caused the device to emit a series of lights that formed a pattern across the room. It was a display, possibly a map, showing areas beyond the outpost. Eli smiled quietly. His approach worked again: observation, understanding, and creative action. Suddenly, the ground beneath their feet hummed. Small panels in the floor slid open, revealing mechanisms designed to challenge intruders. Eli immediately jumped back, moving his team behind him. The devices extended, not as weapons, but as obstacles, moving barriers, spinning rods, and platforms that required balance and timing to cross. "Looks like we found the security system," Eli said calmly. "Stay close and follow my lead." He ducked under spinning rods, leapt across shifting platforms, and used walls to propel himself over gaps. Every step was calculated, and he guided his team through, explaining each movement in simple instructions. The obstacles were clever, but Eli's human adaptability was faster and more creative than the machines had anticipated. Outside, in the dense forest and atop high observation platforms, the alien queen leaned forward, her many eyes following each human movement. Her antennae twitched with curiosity. She had seen many intruders, many species attempt to explore her planet. Most relied on weapons, brute force, or overwhelming numbers. Humans were different. Their ingenuity, speed, and calmness under pressure were fascinating. The drones had been tests, but Eli's reaction to them was the true measure of his species. The final obstacle required Eli to jump across a widening gap. He measured the distance with his eyes, calculated his speed and trajectory, and leapt. He landed lightly, his body absorbing the impact, and extended a hand to help Mara across. She followed, laughing softly in relief. "Impressive," she said. "I don't know if any of us would have made it without you." The lights along the walls flickered in unison, and a low, harmonic tone filled the room. Eli paused, sensing the change. Somewhere deep within the outpost there was intelligence observing them. It was not aggressive, but it was aware. "Did you feel that?" Mara asked quietly. Eli nodded. "Something watching, not just the outpost. Something bigger." The queen watched him, and though Eli did not know it, she was measuring him, learning the limits of his species. Her army remained silent in the forest, hundreds of pairs of eyes fixed on the humans, waiting. But for now they were merely observers, held in quiet awe of what a single human could accomplish without weapons, without aggression, using only his mind, his body, and his courage. Eli turned back to his team. "Let's continue," he said. "We've learned a lot already, but there's more to see." It was a world designed not for force, but for understanding. Outside, the alien army remained still, like statues among the glowing plants. The queen's many eyes followed every step, every decision, every movement. She had seen many species before, but humans were different. Their unpredictability, their adaptability, their willingness to act without fear or hesitation fascinated her. Eli led his team into the heart of the outpost. Each step revealed more puzzles, more devices, more opportunities to demonstrate human skill and ingenuity. He moved with quiet confidence, his mind constantly analyzing, adapting, and improvising. The alien observers remained silent, yet their presence was undeniable, pressing against the human perception like a weightless awareness. Hours passed, and the team reached a central chamber. It was larger than anything they had seen, filled with light and strange machinery that pulsed in rhythms that seemed almost alive. Eli walked slowly, examining each device carefully. He realized that this chamber was a hub controlling much of the outpost and possibly connecting to other parts of the planet. "This is incredible," Mara whispered. "It's like the entire outpost is alive, responding to our actions." They were clever, resourceful, and fearless in ways that no other species had been. Eli Parker, standing in the center of the alien outpost, unaware of the massive army watching, smiled to himself. This was only the beginning. The alien outpost was quiet, yet it thrummed with an energy that seemed almost alive. Eli Parker moved through the glowing corridors, his footsteps echoing softly against the smooth walls. The harmonic tones from the devices continued to pulse in rhythm, creating a subtle music that filled the chamber with an otherworldly calm. Behind him, the human team followed carefully, their eyes wide with wonder at the strange environment. Eli's mind was already working, observing the patterns in the outpost. Every device responded to motion, pressure, or sound, yet none had reacted aggressively. That meant the aliens had built this place not to harm intruders but to challenge them, to measure their intelligence and adaptability. Eli smiled faintly at the thought. Humans excelled in ways many species could not anticipate. As they moved deeper, a soft hum rose from above. Eli paused, glancing toward a high platform visible through a translucent ceiling. There, a massive figure hovered, moving with a grace and power that was both intimidating and mesmerizing. Her many eyes glinted in the light as she observed the humans, and long, elegant limbs adjusted to maintain perfect balance in the air. This was the alien queen, and she was watching him. He did not know it yet, but she had sent signals through her army. Every observer in the forest and among the outpost platforms had stopped moving, their attention fully on the humans. The queen's presence was commanding. Even the air seemed to hold its breath as she observed. Eli led his team into a larger chamber. The walls here were covered with intricate patterns of light and metal, forming symbols that pulsed in complex rhythms. He could feel a strange resonance beneath his feet, as if the building itself were alive. He extended his hands to touch a panel, and the light responded, forming a pattern of interlocking shapes that seemed to ask a question. Mara bent down to examine it. "It's like a puzzle," she whispered. "Something wants to see how we solve it." Using his fingers, he traced the movements, matching the rhythm, and the lights responded by stabilizing, forming a clear path through the chamber. Mara's eyes widened in amazement. "You did that by hand?" she asked. Eli shrugged. "We humans have a knack for adapting. We observe, understand, and then act. That's all it takes." Suddenly, a section of the floor shifted, revealing a series of moving platforms over a glowing pit. The team froze, uncertain how to proceed. Eli stepped forward, examining the platforms carefully. They moved in a pattern predictable but complex. "Follow me," he said, moving onto the first platform. He adjusted his balance as it shifted, using the rhythm of the motion to time his steps. Mara followed closely, placing her hands lightly on his shoulders for guidance. The others moved in sequence, each step precise, each jump deliberate. The alien queen observed silently from above. Her many eyes tracked each human movement, noting how they adjusted, how they learned, and how they communicated with one another without words. There was no fear in their actions, only confidence and intelligence. For a species that relied on numbers and coordination, humans were fascinating in their unpredictability. After crossing the platforms, Eli noticed a faint shimmer ahead, a transparent wall that pulsed with light. He reached out and touched it, feeling a subtle resistance, like a membrane. The light shifted, revealing a hidden doorway. Mara gasped. "It's like it responded to your touch," she said. Eli nodded. "Not just touch, observation, timing, and understanding. That's how they measure intelligence here." Mechanical arms hovered over suspended platforms, and crystalline structures emitted light in rhythmic pulses. The air was thick with energy, and Eli felt a subtle charge as he stepped forward. "This must be the central hub," Mara whispered. "Everything we've seen leads here." Patterns of light moved across the machinery, and he realized that the devices were not random. They formed a sequence, a set of challenges designed to test coordination, problem-solving, and adaptability. He smiled faintly. Humans were uniquely suited to this kind of test. He moved first, carefully interacting with the machinery. Using his hands and keen observation, he manipulated the devices, causing them to respond in sequence. Lights shifted, panels moved, and pathways opened. Mara and the others followed, their confidence growing as they realized that human intuition and adaptability were more effective than brute force or complex calculations. From above, the alien queen's antennae twitched with curiosity. She had seen many species attempt to explore her planet, but none had done so with such elegance. Humans did not rely on overwhelming power. They relied on their minds, their creativity, and their ability to think quickly under pressure. Eli reached a central platform that floated slightly above the ground. Light patterns shifted beneath his feet, forming a puzzle that required precise timing and movement. He studied it carefully, noting the rhythm and sequence. With a series of small, deliberate steps, he moved across the platform, his body adapting to each shift. The lights responded, forming a pathway to the other side. Mara followed, laughing softly in relief as she reached the platform safely. "You make it look easy," she said. Eli smiled. "It's not about ease, it's about understanding and adapting." Every observer paused, captivated by the human's actions. Eli sensed the observation, though he could not see the army. There was a weight in the air, a presence that seemed to acknowledge their progress. He led his team forward, deeper into the atrium, and noticed a series of barriers that moved rhythmically. They were non-lethal but challenging, designed to test timing, agility, and problem-solving. He moved first, navigating the barriers with careful precision. Each step required focus, and he adjusted his movements in response to subtle changes in rhythm. The barriers moved faster, but he adapted, demonstrating flexibility and quick thinking. Mara and the others followed, guided by his example. The alien queen observed silently. Her eyes, each glinting with intelligence, tracked every human movement. She had seen countless species fail at such tests, relying on numbers or aggression. Humans were different. They used creativity, observation, and adaptability, qualities that made them unpredictable and in many ways remarkable. After passing the barriers, Eli reached a section of the atrium with floating platforms that rotated and shifted in complex patterns. He studied them carefully, noting the timing and trajectory required to cross safely. With deliberate steps and careful balance, he moved across the platforms, guiding his team behind him. Each person followed, their confidence growing with every successful movement. The queen's interest intensified. She had never witnessed a species so capable of adapting to challenges that were not direct threats. Humans did not fight blindly. They thought, observed, and acted in harmony with their environment. This was a rare quality, one that the queen recognized as extraordinary. At the far end of the atrium, a final test awaited, a series of interconnected devices that required simultaneous manipulation to open a central passage. Eli studied the mechanisms, realizing that each device responded to a combination of timing, pressure, and sequence. He adjusted his approach, moving with deliberate precision and coordinating his actions with the others. The devices responded, lights shifting and panels moving in perfect harmony. The passage opened, revealing a new corridor that led further into the outpost. Mara looked at Eli with awe. "You've done it again. I don't know any other species that could solve these challenges like this." "That's how we survive, and sometimes how we impress." They were clever, adaptable, and fearless in ways that few species could comprehend. Eli led his team into the new corridor, unaware of the silent admiration that followed them. The challenges of the outpost were only beginning, but already the humans had demonstrated qualities that set them apart. The alien queen, observing from her platform above, remained silent but attentive, her many eyes fixed on the humans as they continued their journey. For the first time, Eli felt a strange sense of connection, not just to his team or to the outpost, but to the presence that watched them so closely. There was intelligence here, and it recognized the value of human ingenuity. As they moved forward, the harmonic tones of the outpost shifted, responding to their progress. Eli realized that this was more than exploration. It was a test of character, a demonstration of what humans could achieve without weapons, without aggression, and without fear. And somewhere, hidden in the glowing forest and atop distant platforms, the alien army waited silently, captivated by what they had seen. The Queen's attention remained fixed on Eli, her curiosity and respect growing with every step he took. Humanity, she realized, was unlike any other species she had encountered, and that realization would change everything. Eli Parker, walking confidently through the alien corridors, unaware of the watchful eyes above, smiled faintly to himself. This was only the beginning of a journey that would challenge him, inspire him, and ultimately reveal the power of human ingenuity to an entire alien civilization. The corridor ended in a massive chamber, taller and wider than anything Eli had ever seen. The walls glowed with soft, shifting patterns of light that seemed almost alive, responding to the presence of the humans. At the far end, a platform hovered, suspended in midair by some invisible force. Above it, the alien queen observed silently, her many eyes fixed on Eli as he stepped into the room. He felt a strange thrill run through him. This was no ordinary challenge. Everything in this chamber had been designed to test the limits of intellect, agility, and adaptability. The air was filled with a gentle hum, vibrating through the floor and resonating with the rhythm of the lights. Eli realized instantly that this was the Queen's personal trial, a demonstration of what humans could achieve under observation. Mara and the rest of the team stayed close behind, following Eli's lead. "Do you think she'll intervene?" Mara asked quietly. Eli shook his head. "No, she wants to watch. This is about observation, not interference." He adjusted his steps carefully, counting the rhythm in his head, feeling the vibrations beneath him. Each panel moved independently, responding to his weight and motion. He had to predict the movement of the next panel before it happened, using both intuition and observation. Mara followed, her hands brushing lightly along the walls for support. "This is incredible," she whispered. "It's like the room itself is alive." He leapt from one pillar to the next, adjusting his body midair to maintain balance. Each landing required a subtle shift of weight, a precise placement of his feet, and a quick glance ahead to anticipate the next rotation. From her platform above, the Queen's antennae twitched. Her army remained hidden, but the hum of attention was palpable. The humans moved in a way that the aliens had never seen, calculated yet fluid, instinctive yet deliberate. It was not strength that carried them forward, but a combination of intelligence, observation, and adaptability. Eli reached the far side of the gap and extended a hand to help Mara across. She smiled, trusting his guidance, and together they moved forward. The next section of the chamber consisted of suspended platforms that rotated and shifted in intricate patterns. Each platform responded to pressure, tilting slightly under weight and moving in rhythm with nearby platforms. Eli studied the sequence carefully, noting the timing and spacing. He stepped lightly, adjusting his balance, and moved across with careful precision. "This is amazing," Mara said softly, following him. "I've never seen anyone navigate obstacles like this without tools or weapons." Each panel moved independently, forming openings and barriers in a seemingly random sequence. Eli studied the movement, noting the timing and sequence. With deliberate steps, he moved through the wall, adjusting his body to fit through each gap. Mara and the others followed, guided by his lead. The alien queen's attention intensified. She had observed countless species attempting to navigate similar trials, but none had done so with such precision and adaptability. Humans did not rely on brute force or sheer numbers. They relied on observation, quick thinking, and creativity. This made them unpredictable and fascinating. As they progressed deeper into the chamber, Eli noticed a pattern emerging. The obstacles, though complex, followed a logic that could be understood and anticipated. He began to anticipate the movement of the platforms and panels, adjusting his steps and timing before the challenge even presented itself. Mara followed closely, her confidence growing with each successful maneuver. The queen observed silently, her many eyes tracking every movement. Her antennae twitched with interest, and a subtle vibration ran through the chamber as if acknowledging the human's progress. Eli felt the weight of her attention, though he did not know its source. There was a presence here, intelligent and aware, evaluating every step, every decision, every display of adaptability. At the far end of the chamber, a final challenge awaited, a suspended bridge made of narrow, glowing planks that shifted unpredictably. The planks responded to weight, tilting and rotating with the slightest movement. Eli studied the bridge carefully, noting the sequence of shifts and the rhythm of the lights. He took a deep breath, feeling the resonance of the chamber beneath his feet. He stepped onto the first plank, adjusting his balance with subtle movements. Each step required focus, anticipation, and precise timing. The planks shifted beneath him, but he adapted, moving fluidly from one to the next. Mara followed, guided by his example, and the rest of the team moved behind her. The bridge demanded constant attention, but the humans were able to read the patterns and react with speed and accuracy. From above, the queen's many eyes glinted with admiration. Her army remained silent, captivated by the humans' skill and adaptability. She had seen species fail at similar trials, relying on strength or sheer numbers. Humans, she realized, were different. They used creativity, observation, and intelligence, qualities that few species possessed in such balance. As they reached the other side of the bridge, a final mechanism activated, a series of panels that formed a complex pattern on the floor. The panels required coordinated movement, with each step triggering a reaction in another part of the sequence. Eli studied the pattern, quickly calculating the order of movements. He stepped carefully, guiding Mara and the others through the sequence with precision. Each panel lit up in response to their actions, forming a harmonious pattern that completed the challenge. The chamber responded with a gentle pulse of light, and the harmonic tone shifted, acknowledging their success. Eli felt a sense of accomplishment, though he remained focused on the path ahead. He realized that this trial was not just about agility or timing. It was about observation, creativity, and the ability to adapt under pressure. These were qualities humans excelled at, and the aliens were beginning to take notice. The alien queen descended slightly, moving closer to the center of the chamber. Her eyes remained fixed on Eli, studying him carefully. She had sent signals through her army, commanding them to remain hidden but attentive. The humans' progress was extraordinary, and the queen recognized that they possessed qualities that were rare and valuable. Eli led his team forward, deeper into the chamber. The challenges continued, each one more complex than the last, requiring observation, timing, and problem-solving. He moved with quiet confidence, guiding his team with calm instructions and precise actions. Mara followed closely, her admiration growing with each successful maneuver. The queen's attention never wavered. Her antennae twitched as she observed, and a subtle vibration ran through the chamber, acknowledging the human's abilities. She had seen countless species attempt to navigate similar trials, but none had demonstrated such skill, adaptability, and intelligence. Humans were unique, and their potential was evident in every movement. As they approached the final section of the chamber, a massive platform descended from above, revealing a complex series of interconnected devices. Each device responded to a combination of weight, timing, and sequence, forming a puzzle that required careful observation and coordination. Eli studied the devices, quickly understanding the logic behind them. He moved first, guiding Mara and the others through the sequence with precision and creativity. The devices responded perfectly, forming a harmonious pattern that opened a passage to the next area. The harmonic tone shifted once more, acknowledging their success. Eli felt a sense of satisfaction, knowing that the humans had demonstrated qualities that were rare and impressive. From above, the queen observed silently, her many eyes fixed on Eli. She had sent signals through her army, commanding them to remain hidden but attentive. The humans' success was extraordinary, and the queen recognized that they possessed qualities that were rare and valuable. Eli led his team through the passage, unaware of the full extent of the attention they had garnered. The alien army remained silent, captivated by the humans' skill, creativity, and adaptability. The queen's gaze followed Eli, her admiration growing with every step. For the first time, Eli sensed a connection beyond the physical challenges of the outpost. There was intelligence here, observing, evaluating, and responding to their actions. It was a presence that recognized the value of human ingenuity, adaptability, and courage. As they moved deeper into the alien structure, Eli realized that this was only the beginning of a greater challenge. The trials had tested their skill, observation, and coordination, but the ultimate test awaited them. The alien queen had chosen to observe, to measure, and to learn about humans in a way that no other species had experienced. Eli Parker, leading his team through the glowing corridors of the alien outpost, felt a quiet thrill. The path ahead was uncertain, filled with challenges that would test their minds and bodies in ways they had never imagined. But one thing was clear: humanity had already made an impression on the alien queen and her army. Their intelligence, creativity, and adaptability had captured attention, and the recognition of their potential was only beginning. He glanced at Mara, who smiled with quiet confidence. Together, they moved forward, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The queen's gaze followed them, silent but attentive, acknowledging the uniqueness of the human species. Eli Parker, without knowing it, had begun to demonstrate the power and potential of humanity to an entire alien civilization. The chamber ahead was unlike anything Eli had encountered so far. It stretched high into the ceiling, with platforms suspended in the air, glowing softly with pulsating light. The air itself seemed to hum with anticipation, vibrating beneath his feet as though the room were aware of his presence. From above, the alien queen hovered silently, her many eyes tracking every movement. Eli felt her attention, a weight that pressed down not physically but mentally, as if the room itself had acknowledged her and now focused that recognition on him. "Stay close," Eli said to his team. "The next section looks more complex, but it's still about observation and timing. Watch carefully, think ahead, and don't rush." The others followed, moving cautiously but with growing confidence. The human team had already demonstrated skill and adaptability beyond what anyone had expected, and Eli could sense the alien observers were taking note of every small decision, every subtle movement. The first challenge was a series of floating spheres, hovering several feet above the ground. They moved in a coordinated pattern, shifting up and down and side to side in a rhythm that seemed both random and deliberate. Eli studied them, noticing the subtle timing between each movement. He took a careful step forward, then leapt onto the first sphere, landing lightly. The spheres responded to his weight, tilting slightly but remaining stable. He moved deliberately from sphere to sphere, adjusting his balance, predicting the shifts, and guiding Mara across with quiet encouragement. The others followed, each step precise and careful. Eli realized that this challenge was not about strength, but about timing, observation, and adaptability, the qualities humans excelled at naturally. From her platform above, the queen leaned forward slightly. Her antennae twitched with interest, and her eyes followed each human movement. She had seen species fail at such tests before, relying on power, numbers, or aggression. Humans, however, were unpredictable in the most fascinating way. They adapted, observed, and solved problems using ingenuity rather than brute force. After crossing the spheres, they faced a series of shifting bridges, each tilting and rotating independently. The bridges were narrow, requiring careful steps and precise timing to avoid falling. Eli studied the pattern, noting how each bridge moved in relation to the others. With steady movements, he guided his team across, explaining each step in simple instructions. "Timing is everything," he said. "Watch the rhythm, anticipate the next movement, and trust your instincts." These were traits that could rival technology in numbers, and the alien queen was witnessing them firsthand. As they progressed, the chamber shifted subtly. Platforms rose and fell, walls rotated, and glowing panels illuminated new paths. Eli led his team carefully, using observation and quick thinking to navigate the constantly changing environment. The challenges increased in complexity, but the humans adapted, demonstrating resilience and creativity. The alien queen observed silently, her eyes reflecting the light of the chamber. She had sent signals to her army, instructing them to remain hidden but attentive. The humans' actions were extraordinary. They solved problems without aggression, without weapons, relying only on their minds, bodies, and teamwork. It was a combination she had not encountered before, and it fascinated her. At the center of the chamber, a final challenge awaited, a series of interconnected platforms, rotating and shifting in complex patterns. The platforms were suspended over a deep pit of glowing energy, and each movement required perfect timing and coordination. Eli studied the sequence carefully, noting the rhythm and interaction between the platforms. "This is it," he said quietly to himself. "The final test." Each movement required anticipation, observation, and quick reaction. The platform tilted beneath him, but he adapted, moving smoothly to the next. Mara followed closely, trusting his guidance, and the others moved behind her, carefully observing every motion. The queen's eyes remained fixed on Eli. She had seen species fail here before, unable to coordinate or adapt to the dynamic environment. Humans, however, moved with grace, intelligence, and calm confidence. They did not panic or hesitate. They observed, calculated, and acted. Halfway across the final series of platforms, a subtle shift occurred. The platforms began to move more unpredictably, testing not just timing but adaptability. Eli adjusted instantly, shifting his weight and stepping in anticipation of the changes. He guided Mara and the team, each member responding with precision. It was a dance of observation, timing, and creativity. The queen's antennae twitched with approval. Her army remained silent, watching in awe. She had never witnessed a species navigate such challenges without aggression or force. Humans relied on their minds and their instincts, and the result was mesmerizing. At the final platform, Eli paused, realizing the last obstacle required more than timing. It required a combination of creativity and intuition. Panels floated above the platform, forming a puzzle that responded to movement and weight. Eli studied the arrangement, noticing patterns in the shifting lights. He stepped carefully, pressing panels in sequence, observing how the environment responded to each action. Mara watched closely, following his lead. "You really think like them," she whispered. Eli smiled faintly. "We have to. Observation, understanding, adaptation. That's what humans do best." Eli guided the team across, each member moving with careful precision. The chamber pulsed with light, and the harmonic tone shifted in response to their actions. It was as though the environment itself acknowledged their success. The alien queen descended slightly, hovering closer to the humans. Her eyes reflected admiration, curiosity, and a deep recognition of their abilities. She had sent signals through her army, commanding them to remain silent and attentive. The humans' performance had impressed her, demonstrating qualities that were rare and valuable. Eli led his team to the center of the platform. He looked around, sensing the weight of the queen's attention. This was more than a trial, it was a moment of recognition. Humans had proven their intelligence, adaptability, and courage in a way that transcended language, culture, and species. Mara stepped forward, smiling at Eli. "We did it. They're watching and they're impressed. Our value isn't in strength or numbers. It's in how we think, how we adapt, and how we solve problems." From the surrounding platforms and hidden observation points, the alien army remained still, absorbing the display of human ingenuity. The silent observers were captivated, realizing that this species was capable of remarkable things. Humans had faced complex challenges without weapons, without force, and without fear, and they had succeeded. Eli felt a strange connection to the presence above him. It was as if the queen, through her attention, communicated understanding and respect. He did not need words to know that humans had earned recognition on a scale he could not have imagined. The team gathered at the center of the platform, their faces reflecting awe, excitement, and pride. They had navigated the most challenging section of the outpost, demonstrating not just skill, but the essence of human potential. The Queen's attention remained fixed on Eli, silent but unmistakably approving. She had observed, measured, and acknowledged the human's abilities. Her army, though hidden, had witnessed something extraordinary. The power of ingenuity, creativity, and adaptability displayed by a single human and his team. Eli Parker, standing in the center of the alien chamber, felt a sense of accomplishment unlike anything he had known. This was more than exploration. It was a demonstration of humanity's potential, a silent proclamation of what humans could achieve when they relied on intelligence, observation, and courage. As the light pulses of the chamber settled into a calm rhythm, Eli looked at his team. "This is just the beginning," he said. "We've shown them what humans can do. Now it's time to see what else they have in store for us." For the first time, Eli felt that humans had not only survived the alien trials, they had impressed and inspired. And somewhere deep in the observation platforms and forest canopies, the alien army remained still, captivated by what they had witnessed. Eli led his team forward, stepping into a new corridor that promised further challenges and discoveries. The Queen followed silently, her attention unwavering. Humanity had demonstrated its potential, and the recognition of their ingenuity and adaptability would shape the relationship between the two species in ways that no one could yet predict. As they moved forward, Eli glanced at Mara, who nodded with quiet confidence. Together, they faced the unknown, ready to meet the next challenge with the same calm intelligence and adaptability that had carried them this far. The Queen's gaze followed them, acknowledging their success and silently heralding the next stage of the trial, a stage that would test not just their skills, but the very essence of human courage and ingenuity. Eli Parker, unaware of the magnitude of the impression he had made, smiled faintly. Humanity had proven itself remarkable, not through weapons or force, but through the power of observation, creativity, and adaptability. And the alien queen, watching silently, knew that this species had a future among the stars. The final corridor stretched before Eli and his team like a challenge waiting to be solved. It was wider than any hallway they had encountered, lined with glowing panels and floating platforms that pulsed softly with light. The air hummed with quiet energy, vibrating beneath their feet as though the structure itself were alive. Eli felt the familiar weight of observation. The alien queen hovered above, her many eyes fixed on him, and he could sense the silent attention of her army hidden throughout the surrounding platforms and forested areas. "Stay alert," Eli said, his voice calm but filled with focus. "The final test is ahead. Watch, think, and act carefully. We just need to keep observing and adapting." It tilted slightly beneath him, but he adjusted his balance with subtle shifts of weight, moving fluidly to the next platform. Mara followed closely, her hands brushing lightly along the walls for support as she mimicked Eli's careful movements. The rest of the team moved behind her, watching Eli's actions and responding with growing confidence. The platforms required constant attention, predicting the shifts and responding to changes in rhythm. Eli realized this was not just a test of skill, it was a test of perception, observation, and creativity, qualities humans possessed naturally. From above, the queen leaned forward slightly, her antennae twitching with interest. Her army remained hidden but attentive, silent witnesses to the humans' every move. She had seen many species attempt challenges like this before, relying on strength or numbers, yet humans approached obstacles differently. They observed, adapted, and solved problems with creativity and intelligence. That was rare, and it fascinated her. The next obstacle consisted of rotating platforms suspended high above the ground. Each platform moved independently, requiring precise timing and coordination to cross. Eli studied the movement, noting how the platforms interacted with one another. With deliberate steps, he guided his team across, predicting the shifts before they occurred. Every move required concentration, observation, and quick thinking. "Keep your balance," Eli instructed softly. "Don't rush. Trust the pattern and trust yourselves." Eli realized that this trial was as much about leadership and teamwork as it was about individual skill. Humans excelled at coordination and cooperation, and the aliens were witnessing this firsthand. Ahead, a final series of suspended panels formed a puzzle that required simultaneous action. Each panel responded to weight, timing, and sequence, and stepping incorrectly could reset the system. Eli studied the layout carefully, noticing subtle rhythms and patterns in the light. He guided Mara to step onto the first panel while he moved to the next, synchronizing their actions perfectly. The remaining team members followed in order, their movements coordinated by observation and trust. The panels responded, shifting into place and forming a stable pathway to the center of the platform. Eli moved with deliberate precision, guiding his team across, each step calculated and confident. The harmonic tones of the room shifted in response, acknowledging the humans' progress. From above, the queen observed silently. Her many eyes reflected admiration and recognition. She had seen species fail at similar challenges, unable to adapt, unable to coordinate, and unable to think creatively under pressure. Humans, however, moved with intelligence, grace, and courage. They did not rely on brute force or weapons. They relied on observation, adaptability, and ingenuity. This was the essence of their strength, and the queen understood it fully. At the center of the platform, a final mechanism awaited, a crystalline interface that responded to thought, movement, and timing. Eli approached carefully, feeling the subtle hum beneath his hands as he touched the surface. The interface pulsed in response, reacting to his observation and subtle movements. He realized this was the ultimate test, a demonstration of creativity and understanding without physical confrontation or force. He extended his hands, moving deliberately, combining timing, intuition, and problem-solving. The crystal responded, lights shifting and flowing in patterns that Eli intuitively understood. Mara and the team followed, placing their hands lightly on the surface, adding to the sequence of actions. Together, they created a harmony of motion, thought, and observation. The alien queen watched silently, her attention unwavering. Her army remained hidden, captivated by the humans' display. They had never seen a species manipulate such a complex system without aggression, without weapons, relying solely on intelligence and cooperation. It was mesmerizing. Eli adjusted his movements slightly, observing how the crystal reacted, and then corrected the sequence with subtle precision. The lights pulsed more brightly, and the harmonic tone of the room shifted, as if the outpost itself were acknowledging their success. He smiled faintly, realizing that humans had demonstrated the very qualities that made them exceptional: adaptability, observation, creativity, and courage. Mara whispered, "We did it, Eli. I think we really did it." Yes, and they've noticed, all of them. The queen, her army, they've seen what humans can do without weapons or aggression. That's the point. That's our strength. It was subtle yet unmistakable, a recognition of achievement, a sign of respect. Her antennae twitched in approval, and a soft vibration ran through the platform beneath them. The hidden army remained silent, yet their attention was palpable. They had observed, learned, and now recognized the humans' unique capabilities. Eli realized that this moment marked a turning point. Humanity had not only survived the trials of the alien outpost, they had earned admiration and respect through intelligence, creativity, and courage. Eli looked at his team, who mirrored his awe and pride. Each member had played a part, demonstrating observation, adaptability, and cooperation. They had faced challenges that tested the limits of their minds and bodies, and they had succeeded without weapons or force. The Queen extended a series of gestures, communicating silently through motion and presence. Eli could not understand the language fully, but the meaning was clear: respect, recognition, and trust. She had witnessed the very essence of humanity, its creativity, resilience, and courage, and acknowledged it in a way that transcended species and culture. The harmonic tones of the chamber shifted one last time, forming a resonant melody that filled the space. Eli felt the vibrations beneath his feet, the recognition of achievement not just from the Queen, but from the outpost itself. It was as if the entire structure had celebrated their success, acknowledging human ingenuity and adaptability. From the hidden observation points, the alien army began to move subtly, aligning in formation but remaining silent. Their presence was a demonstration of recognition, a quiet acknowledgement that the humans had impressed them beyond expectation. Eli realized that this was a historic moment, not just for himself or his team, but for humanity. They had earned a place in the awareness of an entire alien civilization. Mara stepped closer to Eli, her voice filled with quiet wonder. "Do you think they'll trust us now? And we've earned it through observation, intelligence, and courage. That's what humans do best." They had done so not through weapons, numbers, or force, but through qualities that were rare in the galaxy: observation, adaptability, courage, and ingenuity. Eli looked around the chamber one last time, sensing the full weight of the moment. The humans had proven themselves. They had demonstrated that their strength lay not in aggression or technology alone, but in the combination of mind, body, and spirit. The alien queen had acknowledged this, and her army had witnessed it silently, captivated and impressed. The team gathered at the center of the platform, feeling a sense of pride and accomplishment that words could not fully capture. They had navigated every challenge, every obstacle, and every test with intelligence and grace. They had impressed a civilization unlike any other, showing that humans were capable of remarkable things without conflict or violence. The Queen extended another gesture, subtle yet unmistakable. It was a signal of recognition, a way of saying that humanity had proven its value and potential. The hidden army mirrored the gesture in unison, their silent acknowledgement amplifying the significance of the moment. Eli Parker, standing at the center of the chamber with his team, felt a quiet thrill. Humanity had not only survived, they had inspired. Their ingenuity, adaptability, and courage had transcended barriers of language, species, and culture. They had earned the respect of an entire alien civilization, not through force, but through the very essence of what it meant to be human. As the light pulses of the chamber settled into a calm rhythm, Eli looked at Mara and the others. "This is just the beginning," he said softly. "We've shown them what humans can do. Now it's time to see where this connection can take us." Humanity had demonstrated a power greater than weapons or technology, the power of creativity, observation, and courage. For the first time, Eli felt a profound connection between species, a recognition that transcended words. The alien queen had acknowledged humanity, her army had witnessed it, and the humans had proven themselves remarkable. It was a moment of history, a moment where one species understood and respected another through the purest demonstration of skill, intelligence, and heart. Eli Parker, without knowing it, had left a mark on an entire civilization. Humanity had earned recognition among the stars, and the journey ahead promised discoveries, understanding, and possibilities beyond imagination. The Queen hovered silently, her eyes reflecting admiration and respect, while her army remained captivated by what they had witnessed. Humanity had shown its true strength, not through force, but through the brilliance of the mind and the courage of the spirit.